So, hello everyone, and welcome to Man's Weekly Roundtable Discussion. I'm Lawrence Littleton, Executive Director of Man NFP, and the author and creator of Man's Community Violence Intervention, Workforce Development, and Community Development Curriculum. I am also the author of America, the Ultimate Me Society, which you can find on Amazon. Our weekly roundtable is a space for open, respectful dialogue. Here's how we will make it work. Please raise your hand and you'll be called on in the order of hands were raised. Each person will have at least 1 minute to share their thoughts. This ensures that everyone's voice is heard and valued. The topics we discuss will change weekly, giving us a chance to explore different perspectives, challenge our thinking, and find common ground. This week's conversation is on social engineering. What is it, and how does it impact us? A chance to recognize the strengths and values that unite us. So let's listen to each other, understand, speak to build, and learn from one another. All right. So now you've been in the man class, young lady, and
Yes.
just last week I went over a little bit about social engineering. So what do you think social engineering is?
Um, I looked it up. I think it's some type of form of manipulation, but I was trying to figure out like how do it go though?
Okay. Well, so do you know what the word engineering means?
Fixing something?
No. How about we look it up? Since it's you and I, we can go a little bit into detail. Uh,
Okay, hold on.
yeah, I'm gonna pull it up and then we can read the definition of engineering.
Okay. It says the act, work, or professions of an engineer. The art of science of making particle applications of the acknowledgement of power science. Is that right?
Hmm.
Is that
Okay.
um
So
construction of engines, bridges, building, mines, ships, and chemical
did
plants.
it, did it say mines? MINDS?
Mass, MINES.
Okay. Keep going.
That's it. That's the whole. That's skillful or artful
Okay.
manufacturing.
All right. So what I got is I see what is
I got it.
engineering.
Got examples.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Rebecca Young, 12, designed a solar powered blanket with an engineering firm. Thousands then turned into reality.
Okay.
I don't
That's
know
a
what
good
that
one.
means.
All right. Well, that's a good one. That's a good one. And so, put simply, engineers make things work. In fact, according to online encyclopedia, the word engine and ingenuous have the same Latin root to ingenerate, which means to create. Being innovative is actually in the job title. So to put it more eloquently, he says that this guy, David Gould, he says engineering is a practical way for human society to change, modify, and improve the physical world around us so that humans can have a better life. So engineering involves various activities to build, create, or modify things such as machines, tools, and environments. While there are dozens of types of engineering, here are a couple. Chemical engineers. They use sciences to solve problems and create all different type of chemicals for food, drugs, and so forth and so on. Civil engineers. These the guys who build your bridges and buildings and and skyscrapers and highways and tunnels and dams. Electrical engineers. These are guys who do electrical and have designed and engineering infrastructure that we enjoy today. You like having lights in your house?
Yeah, so that's when I thought of engineering. That's what I thought about.
Yeah. So mechanical engineers. These are guys who build engines. You like that car you drive?
Sorry.
So engineers. So these guys, engineers design things. They do a bunch of research, they gather data, gather information, and they put it together and then they create it. in reality. They either give it to they give it to somebody else to create for them in reality. So engineer sits behind the scenes. He designs a schematic or a plan or something that says, "Hey, if I put this with this, it should do this." And then they say, and then he says, "Okay, well, let's try that out. So let me give it to this guy, and now here you go get it. You go get this, and you go get this, and put it together, and let's see if it works." You following me?
Yeah, so I got the so when I looked at social engineering,
Uh huh.
it says social engineering is a manipulation technique used to trick people into giving up confidential information or performing actions that compromise security.
Okay. That's a definition of social engineering, and it's okay. I'll accept that, but it's a lot more to it than that because there are good there are some good things to social engineering as well as bad things to social engineering. It all depends on who's doing the social engineering and what their
Yeah.
objective is. Yeah.
Okay.
So so we know what social is. You know, socially means you want to look it up?
Social is like a group of people, a lot of stuff going on at one time.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm
Yeah.
finna look it up.
Okay.
I don't know why my stuff ain't popping up. Social. What's the definition for social? Relating to, devote to, or characterized by friendly commission. What's that? Companionship or relations? A social
Hmm.
club.
Okay.
Seeking or enjoying companionship of others.
Hmm.
Friendly, sociable, a social event.
Hmm.
Relating or connected with or suited to polite or fashionable society.
Okay. So now let's put social together with engineering. So uh social being a group of people.
So a
It
group of
could
people
be
working together to fix a problem
it could be that.
or a
So or
situation or whatever it is
mhm.
they're trying to get to.
And anytime you get two people together, it's social. There's a
Okay,
social
so two or
interaction.
more people is social.
Yeah, it's a social interaction now.
Okay.
So now let's take a couple blocks like we do in our lands. Like we got a couple hoods. So you got a hood with say 30 or 40 people. What's That's a social interaction. They form themselves a group and they call themselves whatever they call themselves. You see,
Yeah.
that's
And
social
then the other
engineering.
group. So it's basically like a peace treaty if
No,
you
no, no,
get
no,
two
no.
groups together.
No, 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 no. I mean, you could do that. You could socially engineer groups to form peace treaties. That's what we're
Okay.
trying to do, right? You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if we,
So
mhm, go for it.
no, I basically was thinking about that unity little stuff they got going on right now in the city. That's
Yeah,
basically what they doing. Forming
that's a
groups together to yeah, so social engineering that doing that
that
with them groups whatever they got going on with the violence and stuff that's going
ex-
on around in Chicago right now.
exactly. So that's a good form. That's a form of social engineering that the objective is for good,
Yeah,
right? So now you understand that what social engineering is.
yeah.
So uh, there's social engineering for bad, and that's that definition that they got out there. To manipulate a group of people or a population for bad intent. So what's an example of that?
Uh, uh, mm, maybe the rap that's going on right now about all the violence and everything that's
Mm,
going on is like affecting our youth some type of way, like to make them want to do the same thing
there you go. There you go. So you just gave an example of social engineering and how
in
it
a bad
impacts
way.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah, in a bad way, and how it impacts us, which is a part of the discussion. What is social engineering and how does it impact us? So you just gave a great example. rap music. A lot of the rap music today is talking about, degenerate bad things, and then it impacts our youth and impacts us because kids want to emulate this, and they go out into the real world and actually do these
Yeah, because they
things.
manipulated bad. And then like
Exactly.
like growing up probably a few years in the 80s, the music was R&B, so that's why people was having so many kids because it was the music was like
Yeah, let me get you pregnant, girl.
yeah type that type that type let
I
me blow
love
your
you,
mind
girl.
type music.
I love
Yeah,
you,
that type of music. So yeah,
girl. All right. So you got it. Now you understand, you got a good understanding of what social engineering is. So do you think social engineering is important?
yeah,
Okay.
I think
Why?
it's important. It can be
Why?
because you can social basically like you can either you can learn from social engineering or you can be affected by it.
Okay.
Or know how
Can
you
you can you be a social engineer?
yeah I can. I can be
Okay.
a social engineer. But I
You
got
can
a
be a
lot of
so
people like I got a lot of people that look up to me and I can affect them in a good way. Or if I do bad stuff, I might can affect them in a bad way. So it's basically like you got to watch what you do, because other people take heed to it.
hmm That's exactly. So social engineering, to me, and from what I've put a lot of work over the years, studying culture and just various things. I'm just a nerd, and so when I started studying social engineering, it was late '90s, and I started to realize that our whole population, and all the groups in the population, are being socially engineered. They're being guided like, we're being guided like a herd of sheep or cattle. You ever see movies or things where you see, a farmer or something? He got all these cows or pigs or whatever, and he making them go all one way and go all this way and then go a different way. You vision that in your head.
Yeah, cause I think that with the deers the other day. I took my kids to a little amusement park, and it was like a farm in the back, and it was like they always just trailing each other.
hmm So that's how it impacts us, is because there are certain social engineering factors that are being implemented into our population that's guiding us to do certain things. And you gave me a perfect example of that through rap music. So what are some other, since it's you and I, it's supposed to be a roundtable. Now it's just gonna go into me teaching you about social engineering.
Yeah.
So, what are some factors, like factors that social engineers use to shape the population and where they go? So, you use rap music as one. What is another factor that can be used to socially engineer a group of people?
The media, the TVs,
There we go. Good, real good. What else?
uh, let me see, the internet,
Okay, okay.
um, schools, like
Yeah, girl, you on
a lot of
fire.
stuff, a lot of stuff.
So now you see now what I'm doing is what I'm attempting to do is to show you all the tools and factors that social engineers use to, like the definition you gave, that you found, manipulate the population's minds and to gear them or direct them towards certain objectives or certain agendas. So now, what are some of the objectives that you think social engineers have directed us to? Let's just keep it specific to us. What do you think they've directed us to?
It can be a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so that's remember in class. I like for you guys to you thinking critically. So when we think critically, we want to give details. We don't want to just
Yeah,
say,
so it can be like
yeah,
they can try to manipulate us to like death, jail, all like
okay,
the way
okay.
the way my mindset, it'd be like, mhm. killing each other,
Okay.
uh, to try to. Uh, I'm trying to think. How can I put it?
You did good. You did good. You getting what you picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to give a good example. Like they can try to like. Uh, it's on the tip of my tongue. I just don't know how to put it. Basically, like, they can try to manipulate us to like do bad stuff so we can go to jail and be away from our families.
Hmm.
Um,
What
so
about what about drugs and alcohol?
that too.
Okay.
That's a good
Uh,
example. That's
what about
because they bringing it in and they yeah. Don't put that right
what
there,
ab-
okay?
what about what about education?
100%.
Okay. Do we value education in Black America?
No, not too much. Some people do, some people don't. Like right now, with the Chicago public education is I mean like with the board of education right now in Chicago, it suck right now. I can't believe it's even going on. They need to get some type of new
Well,
whatever they call them people that's over it because right now kids not learning nothing. Like nothing. It's like we just sitting in them schools for them to just beat up. It's not a
uh-huh.
daycare, they supposed to be learning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We
Uh,
got kids that's going to third grade, third and fourth grade right now that can't even read
right.
or even
Right.
understand what they read.
Right. So is
I
that
know
a
because
form
my
of
kids growing up, that's a
is,
form.
is that a form of social engineering?
Yeah.
So why would you think that social engineers will want want children not to learn?
So they won't be able to do as much as they can do to stop them from getting the money and the stuff that they gonna need with their life. So they can be like to guide them in the wrong direction. Because if you don't know nothing, you're gonna go do the totally opposite of
Yeah.
what you're supposed to
So
be doing.
there you go. So that's exactly what I get from it, from what I've studied throughout the years, is that a lot of groups, not just our group, but we're focused on our group. I like to, just stay uh, uh, stay focused because you can go all over the place and then we won't really learn anything. We just be all over the place. So uh, what I saw, what I see is, and what I've observed throughout the years is a lot of social engineering factors that have impacted Black America in the wrong way is truly to keep us from competing. And I don't know if you were there in the class where I brought up the 9 areas of human activity on the planet that all humans are involved in collectively to kind of make the world go. We probably think that money make the world go, but it's a whole lot more to it than just money. Money is just currency, something that humans came up with a long time ago to stop the barter system, where one group of humans would say, "Hey, I'll give you strawberries," and the other group would say, "I'll give you bananas." They needed a better system than bartering, and that's when they came up with coin and money.
Yeah,
Uh,
was that one of the first lessons y'all did before the culture?
Probably. I don't know.
No, I don't remember that. I think when I started off, we was talking about culture, probably like week
Mhm.
2 or 3.
Yeah. So I'll just use a couple of them. So labor is one. Uh,
Yeah.
science and technology, engineering and math. That's another. Um, education and healthcare is another. So we just use those because I can't remember them off the top of my head. We use those. So if you look at it, do we really compete in the labor market? You know what the labor market is?
Uh, well, I don't think we compete in the labor market.
So yeah, labor is when you see people cutting, doing a bunch of labor around the place,
No,
cutting
we
the
don't
land.
compete in the labor market because it always be like Mexicans
All right, so
or Latino,
you
whatever they is.
yeah, so you see, and not just that, not just landscaping, but construction. When you see people driving down the street, you see people building roads. That's considered the labor market. Things that people have to physically do with their hands.
Yeah.
You
Or
see?
mentally work done by people,
Huh? Say that
especially for
again.
wages. Yeah, yeah. I just looked it up. Yeah, I don't think we compete in the labor market at all.
Oh, yeah. So now you see what's being socially engineered. So now let's look at careers like science, technology, engineering, and math. For instance, what I do, I'm an IT guy, and that's the T in STEM. And I've been a technology guy for a long time. And it's just now recently, over the last 10 years or so, that I've started to see a lot more black Americans. I always see brothers from Africa and other places since I started this. I was going to school with them, when back in the 90s. But I've rarely seen Black Americans. And then throughout my career, I've always been the only Black guy on the technology team. And
Okay.
now recently I've seen an explosion of blacks in technology, and I'm happy about that. I really am. I was hoping that my mentee would join because he's a young Black guy. He's in IT, and I've been mentoring him on how to where he wants to go on his IT career. But all right, so healthcare. Do we compete in the healthcare market? When you go to the hospitals, do you see a lot of
No,
us? Well,
no. So,
wait a
well,
minute,
it's like
wait
you
a minute,
probably see
wait
a
a
lot of
minute,
like
wait a minute.
registered nurses. Well, I
Yeah,
can't
so
say that. I could say it's like a 50-50 because my sister, she in healthcare. She actually a doctor.
you see what I'm saying? So I think that
So I put it like I give it like a 50-50.
I don't know if it's 50-50, but I get the black women they credit in the healthcare
Yeah, it
industry.
be men too though. So yeah, I do see it.
They up in there. I give them that. They competing there. They like I'm here too. I'm here too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
You
they
hear
are.
them talk about it a little more too now.
Yeah, so they do well, our group do compete in the healthcare field, from the CNAs all the way up to doctors. They in there. They in there. They competing in there. And that makes me happy. I got a big smile on my face because they do compete in that. They may not have the best attitudes, but they in that motherfucker. They ain't playing. They there.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh so what's another one? Anyway, that's good. That's good enough for right now. I just wanted to give you an example of why social engineering has been geared towards uh, in our group negatively to keep us from competing, and why the other groups don't want us to compete in these certain markets is quite obvious because they get to reap the financial rewards
They get to get
and,
the
and
wages and they want us to be broke and be
right,
living off
yeah,
aid.
ain't no competition. You see, it all belongs to them, so ain't no competition. And so I got a theory, and I'll share with you on why I believe that happened to us, to Black Americans in America. And I talk about it often in class. I think that happened because out of slavery, Black Americans, our ancestors, they did very well.
Yeah, you
And
talk about that a lot.
yeah, and I'm trying to push that so you guys can understand that and actually go do some research on your own. But Black Americans did very well fresh out of slavery. They did extremely well. They did so well that they started to compete. They dominated the labor market. So you see the Hispanics, the Latinos today, how they dominate the labor market. Well,
Yeah. They,
Black Americans used to be that. Our ancestors used to be that. If you wanted the grass cut, you called Willie. If you wanted the house done, you called Willie. If you wanted the floor put in, you called Willie. If you wanted the roof put on, the bricks laid, you called Willie. So they dominated that. They dominated that space for many years. They also broke into the education space. So you remember, you see, they tell us the stories about Benjamin Banneker, who did the peanut, George Washington Carver, rather, who did the peanut. They tell us a little bits and pieces about the history of Black Americans as they entered into the education space and became scientists, technology, engineering, and math. They broke into that space. They broke into the real estate space. They broke into the business space. They broke into all these areas, and they did extremely well. So much so, and they were very unified in how they did things. So, that's why you out of you two, you may be too young to remember, and it may still be some remnants of this left. You will see a whole family in the neighborhood, and all the cousins that live in the same neighborhood, the aunties. My mother and them come up like that. They all lived in Preston Park. So my grandmother lived in Preston Park. Her sister lived a couple doors down. Her other sister lived on the other side, which out what they call that side over there with the stones at Ragtown or Rack City or whatever yeah. So
No.
I had so I had an auntie who lived on 88th and Union. Margaret, she lived right there, and the rest of her
88th and
sisters lived.
Union.
Yeah, and then the rest of her sisters lived in Princeton Park.
Okay.
So you see, so they had that kind of unity. If you go down to the Bronzeville low end and the projects, for instance, before they built, when they built them, you'll have a whole family, you know, a whole
Yeah.
families. Yeah, so they follow each other, they stuck together, they had and that kind of thing. So what that created was economic infrastructure. And economic infrastructure allow for a lot of blacks to do what a lot of Hispanics do to this day. They have whole neighborhoods where the blacks own most of the buildings and the property. They own most of the stores, the essential stores. I ain't talking about what you see now. Most of we've been reduced to beauty shops and barber shops because that's our number one top value in Black American culture is how we look. So
Yeah.
but back then, they had the essential businesses. The corner grocery store was a black guy. The cleaners was a black guy. The laundromat was a black guy. The gas station was a black guy. So the essential businesses that made a community go in Black America, and Chicago is a great example. There was Harlem, then there was Chicago, then Detroit. That was pretty much the three top cities in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and 50s for Black Americans. You didn't never heard our ancestors talk about the Great Depression. The Great Depression applied to whites, and that's because they were going off to wars. And when they were going off to wars, our ancestors couldn't go to war because they were being discriminated against. You can't go to war, so they stayed here and built these neighborhoods to amazing, immaculate places. So they were doing amazing. So what happened and they were that's social engineering. They were socially engineering. I don't know if they were social engineering, with the knowledge of saying this is what we're going to do. I think that that's just kind of how things happen for them. But so now you could go up in Black America in the 40s and 50s and you can go to the corner store who's owned by your parents because they had parents back then. Your parents' friends. He owns the grocery store, so he give you a job to sweep up. You can go to the barber shop who's owned by another black guy who know your family, and you can get a job. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
So
I feel
yeah, so
like,
that
do you feel like that the world is getting better on black engineering as of now, as the days we living in now?
I think I think we're at the beginning stages of doing that because we are being forced to, just like our ancestors out of slavery were forced to stick together. They were forced to
Yeah.
build economic infrastructure. They were forced to socially engineer for a better outcome for themselves and their children. They were being forced to do this because the world around them was so competitive and anti them. They had no choice but to stick together. And I think that what's happening right now, in my opinion, is we're at the very beginning stages of that happening again. It's
Yeah,
just a
I
lot
see it. I see it.
yeah, it's just a little hard. It's going to be a lot harder because we've been infected with social engineering concepts like egoism, which I wrote about in my book. It's hard to get people to learn because everybody wants to. I know everything because my ego said I know everything. But girl, but
I ain't trying to
uh,
turn this camera on.
so the ego know everything, so it's hard. It's a little rougher. Whereas back then, they knew that they stuck together, and and they knew about the order of things. So if you had those who broke into education, the other ones would rally around the ones who were smart and support them. So they funded their own politicians. I'm gonna do a story on on Mushmouth Johnson, who's considered our first black gangster in Chicago, and but he was a politician. You see what I'm saying? He worked for the mob, for Al Capone and them boys as a bouncer at one of the hotels downtown, and they started to organize, and then they started to put their dollars together, and then they went and found the guys who were smart, the lawyer types, the educated type, and said, "You're gonna represent us in the political arena," and then they paid them. You see what I'm saying? And then they became
Yeah, I
Chicago
get what you
became
say. It's crazy that
yeah.
you saying that because, and like with the situation, what you saying, like with my kids, that's basically how I'm trying to get them to do it when they get older. Because a few of my kids smart, a few of them hands on, and like I just like I be telling them like y'all all can go take a trade out. Like y'all ain't even gotta go to school. Y'all all go take a trade out and then y'all can. Cause I'm already working on their credit. I got two of my kids running on my credit right now to build their credit. So they, by the time they get old enough, all my kids should have some type of credit where they can go to the table with this and that and do whatever they want to do.
So what are you doing?
I got them riding on my credit
No,
right
no, no,
now.
no, no. I'm saying you're socially engineering.
Yeah,
That's
so
what you're
yeah,
doing.
yeah, basically, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
social engineer.
you social engineering, and you
Yeah,
creating a better impact for the outcome for your children. So
yeah.
um, I think that uh, like you said to your question, I think that it's beginning to happen. It's just I think it's going to be a lot harder for us going forward from now than it was than our ancestors, because our ancestors had a very different mindset, and their situations was very different. They wasn't as
And the way
infected.
the violence was different too. I feel like if the violence can go that down, so people can focus on the right thing instead of the wrong thing.
That's true. More respect amongst each other. See, they didn't deal with that. Our ancestors didn't deal with a lot of violence on
No,
each
they
other.
did. Like growing up, we didn't see murders and all this stuff on the
No,
news.
no, I don't know about you. That's not true. I'm talking about our ancestors coming out of slavery
Yeah, I know
from
what
the
you're talking about, but it
yeah,
just got worse. And like I can go see one
yeah,
murder a night on the news until 10 right now.
I'm talking from the 1960s. It's been like what it is now. In fact, it's a lot better than what it was when I was growing up. When I was growing up, we had over in Chicago alone, we had over 900 murders a year, almost 1,000 murders a year. So what you seeing now is I laugh. I be like, yeah, really? This what y'all call bad? Okay, it's really bad, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
this ain't this ain't shit compared to what I experienced growing up. This is child's play. So, but it's bad still. I'm not taking away from the result. The result is still the same, that we killing each other. And but social engineering impacted that. So gentrification is a form of social engineering. Do you know what gentrification is? You with me?
yeah, I'm sorry about that. I had to get on my kids real fast.
Do you know what gentrification is?
Um, that's like gentrification is like a lot of stuff that's getting built and fixed up in one area
Yep.
or
And
put
what
in one
happens to
area.
the people who was there?
They got to leave, and then like rich people and people with money move into that place in the area.
That is gentrification. And gentrification is a form of what?
Social engineering.
There we go. There we go. Is a major part of social engineering. So gentrification is what the social engineers use to get the murder rate down.
Mm.
You see? You see what I'm
But then
talking?
they move.
Yeah.
But then all the people that's killing each other got to move in the same neighborhood.
Well, and yeah, but uh it appears that way, but if you look at the numbers in Chicago, we used to have, and our population in Chicago and all the other major cities have been declining over the years. So where did all those people go? All of them just didn't go to one neighborhood. If that's the case, all in one
You're right.
neighborhood would be yeah,
They all moved around to different places.
right. That's social engineering. So as they left, for instance, we could take you're a South Side girl, so we could take the Robert Taylors, Stateway and Robert Taylors, the Ickeys, Ida B. Wells. It would take them project buildings back in when from the 70s. They were constructed in the 60s, but from the 70s all the way up until the days they were torn down, you would get, and this from the South Side alone, you can get over 300-400 murders just from them buildings alone in 1 year.
Hey, I thought they was
Now,
more like family.
yeah, it started off that way. But they became by the 80s, by the early 80s, man, please. The most horrible places to live. The worst. Cabrini Green, for instance, give you at least 150 murders a year by itself. Rockwell, you see what I'm saying? Henry Horners, all of them. They did shit, man. I don't know I've been in them. I've been in them. I've never been to Henry Hornets because them was oppositions to me. I had an incident around Henry Hornets where I damn near lost my life. But Rockwell, I've been in one of them buildings because it was some of my guys that had a couple of them buildings back in the days. I've been in Ida B. Wells. I've been in Cabrini Green buildings. I've been in all damn near all the Robert Taylor buildings except for the 4500s. Them three finger dudes. I ain't never been in their building. And them MC the dudes. I ain't never been in the hole. But
Yeah,
the rest,
me growing up down there young, I never felt the violence. I only felt the love. So I guess I missed that part.
which ones you come up in?
Prairie Courts across the street from Dunbar.
Oh, that was girl. Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt the love.
They was considered project buildings, but they.
I ain't see it.
Yeah, I know it's a little rough, but again, also children were not really impacted by the violence, so you wouldn't really would have really been knowing what was going on unless somebody in your family was killed or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, but we are to this
so
day
my
still.
So yeah, and they stick together. I like that about Project Boy. Them forgot I can't leave out my Ville homies. I've been in them Ville buildings. Them my homies over there. I got a lot of homies from the Ville. But so now my point is, now that all of them are gone, what the murders that they was committing is gone too. You
Yeah,
see?
well, they just commit them in another spot.
Yeah, but it's not affecting the Chicago numbers. You see?
Hmm.
Yeah, so wherever they at, yeah, I'm pretty sure they doing what they do. But here, those things are gone. So you look at a lot of traditional neighborhoods like where I come from too. One of the areas I grew up in on 63rd. So if you go through 63rd and Woodline, Ellis and Greenwood and
They
Carter,
gentrifying that right now.
had been gentrified over 15. That was one of the first areas targeted for gentrification. So I remember growing up over there, it used to be, no, we can start off on 62nd and Greenwood. It'd be about at least 100 of us out there. Then we could
Oh
take a
no.
walk to we could take a walk to 65th, Ingleside, and Ellis to the park. It'd be another 300 right there. And from 67 to 61st, on any given day, it might be 1,000 of us out there on Minerva, all through. And then cross over Cottage Grove, go to 67 and Rose and all up and through there, and be another 500. Now, and it was, and then you go through, Cottage, King Drive, Parkway Gardens was really never really, what it is now. But back then it was a nice little place. The real bad parts of that area was the Calumet buildings, 220, and them Wabash buildings and that white building over there. Them was little project buildings. And there was two buildings on Calumet, project buildings. Did you hear about those buildings? You ever know about them buildings?
Yeah, I know about them buildings. I
Yeah,
ain't that young.
yeah. So them buildings, yeah, them was the rough areas. Parkway Garden was like a nursery center, like a little compared to them other buildings. You, you be you, Parkway Gardens was a slice of paradise. But so anyway, not all them buildings gone. You see, the area has changed. So anyway, that's how social engineering impacts uh, real estate. We talked about in areas and population down to mind control, which you gave an example of with the rap music, so forth and so on. I think that you did a great job. We did a good job with the roundtable. I'm glad that that you showed up.
All right.